In this video, I'm going to show how to create a texture painting artwork where you are not necessarily creating an image, but just exploring some different texture painting tools. So the first thing is to kind of look at the tools available on your tray. There's probably going to be some paint brushes, but remember, we're not painting so much as doing texture exploration. So you also want to think about your painting paper. Make sure that the paper that you're choosing to paint onto is different and very much different than the paints that you are painting with. So in this case, I'm going to paint with orange and red. My paper color is yellow. It's very different. I would not want to choose an orange paper or a red paper because then the colors of the paint won't show up very well. You could go darker or lighter, that does not matter, but what matters is the difference in the color. So let's look at some of these tools. One of the tools that we're going to look at today is bubble wrap. This can be a really fun tool to do some paint with. So how does this work? Well, you start by putting a little bit of your color onto the bubbles. Be careful when you're painting. Your goal is not to pop the bubbles, but just to cover the bubbles with some paint. And you can use both colors for this. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of overlap or mixing. That's fine. You just want to get some kind of color on all the bubbles. Then you pick up the bubble wrap, turn it upside down so the paint is now down, and gently rub. Again, we're not trying to pop those bubbles. We just want to transfer the cool texture. And you can actually take this piece and do it again. And you can kind of keep going until like either the whole paper is full or it gets so light that you really can't see the texture anymore. So that's probably good. Someone else can use this now. Then there is something like a toothbrush, which can be used in lots of different ways. You can use it as if it's like a paintbrush, like to begin with, by just kind of brushing. You can create kind of a brushy texture on your paper. So dip it in the paint and then just brush it on the surface like that. That can be kind of a fun way of painting. There's some other kind of paint texture tools. This one is one that you can kind of block or stamp on like this. Or you can use these kind of in a swishy motion too. Either way is fine. There is this kind of tool, a balloon brush. Again, get a little paint on and sort of blop it on your surface. And this can create kind of a bursty looking effect, which is kind of neat. Very fun. And when you're doing texture paint, it's okay to like get your textures all the way to the edge. We're not really making a picture. We're just kind of exploring the kind of marks these things make. Here is a fun tool. This is like a rolly stamp. You want to like roll it in the paint a little bit. You can kind of hold it from the inside middle part. Once you got some good paint on there, then you can roll it across your paper. And it kind of leaves that stamp trail behind. That can look kind of cool. We also have these cool things. These are glue caps with some stamp shapes. So you can dip either side of that in the paint to make shapes. So a circle, or you can flip it around and have a circle this way. There are these kind of stamps where they're like little grippies. And again, dip them in the paint, wipe off the extra, and then touch it on your paper. There is this kind of thing, which is like a nut bag. If you've got a lot of paint already on your paper, you can simply take this, press and lift up, and it will kind of give that cool texture effect there. Or you can dip this directly in the paint and do it that way too. For texture texture paper, you just want to make sure you're getting all the way to the outside edges for this kind of stuff. And then there's like rolly brushes as well that can be used. Get a little paint on there. And then roll that across your paper. Just gently. Doesn't need a ton of paint to work out and create something that looks kind of neat. So keep playing with this. You can make stuff overlap. You can go back to a tool you've already used, fill it up, and make some cool texture paper.